Hello everybody, I'm Brent Hope from Extreme Big Bore Air Rifles, and I just want to demonstrate to you the new product that we came out with at Extreme is the booster pump. And basically what I have is I have a 6,000 pound nitrogen tank and a 6,000 pound helium tank with a regulator from Joe Brancato, and it's got two gauges. One gauge tells you how much pressure is in the tank, and then the other gauge, when you turn the regulator, tells you how much goes into your gun or your tank or whatever you're going to be filling. And one of the problems that we have as air gunners, especially big bore guys, is just use my guns for instance. They use 4,500 psi. I have a great white and a guppy. And one of my biggest problems is when I go out to the range and I shoot, we can only put 4,500 to 4,700 pounds in any of these tanks. So when we go to the range, once our tank gets below 4,200, 4,300 pounds, it is useless to us. And what we have with this booster pump is you have a high pressure side, which is up here, and then you have a low pressure side. So you can take your air source, which would be your great white, guppy, or my big tank for that matter, and things go one way through these check valves, and then when you pull this lever, this gauge will go up showing you how much pressure went into your gun. And I'll do a little demonstration for that in a minute, but this piece has changed the way my air gunning shooting goes, because I can literally take a tank that I used to get, 10 to 15 fills, and then the tank is basically useless to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how everything works on my home setup here. Basically what you do is this hose is going to my 6,000 psi tank, which is down to 3,000 pounds right now. I'm going to turn that on. I am going to hook this to the high pressure side with the number 12 Foster fitting. I am going to turn my regulator on and give the 3,000 psi I have to the high pressure side. Now what that has done is that has taken the high pressure side and we put 3,000 psi in here. And there's a big piston that drives a small piston up to the top. So the piston is here now, and when it compresses it down, the air can only go into your gun or your tank. And that's the way that works. Now what we have is, this is my shop way of using it, and there's a different way I will show you how to use it in the field. You put 100 psi to this tank, and then this connects to your gun or your tank, and I will show you how we will fill the gun right now. This is the Extreme Big Bore, one of the tactical versions, and basically you connect your Foster fitting, make sure it's on there properly, you open your valve. And what that did is that just put 3,000 pounds into my gun, which my tank has. Now what this booster does is you look at this gauge here, and when you pull this lever, it actuates the piston. Now on one pull, that took me to 3,500. The second pull took me to 4,200. The third pull took me to 4,500. Now you turn off your valve, and then on this I'm using pliers, but on the production model I won't, because this will be different. Now you move the air off, unhook it. Now your gun is at 4,500 psi, even though my tank is at 3,000. Now, for the in-field use, you can do a few different things. We will go with the guppy tank. You can even use the guppy tank. We're gonna shut this off. We're gonna unhook from here. Okay, so now my big tank is not hooked up. So now the guppy tank, you won't get many fills with this out in the field. Probably cock your gun off 3 or 4 times, but it's simple. You simply take your guppy tank, you hook it to your high pressure side, and say your guppy tank is at 3,000 psi. You simply do the same thing. You hook this to your gun, you shut your bleed off valve, you open your 6,000 psi valve here, and it will put whatever is in your guppy tank into your gun. And again, you fill this lever or pull this lever. Basically, each time you pull it, you'll put 500 pounds in the gun. So that just made it so this is portable. It is a form of a compressor, but it is not. It's actually what we call as a booster. This is meant to be portable. It's not that big. You can take it with you. Now, there's other ways to make this portable, like I have it set up right now. We're using a shop air compressor, which I have customers that they put an inverter in their vehicle and they hook it into the cigarette lighter and they use a little pancake cylinder to generate the 100 psi to the bottom to make this operate. Now what we have is typically what I like to do is you take your great white tank or whoever's tank you have and you come off of the tank and you're going to have a high pressure side and then you're going to have a T that comes off with a regulator that regulates it to 100 psi. Now that goes to your low pressure side. So now you don't need an inverter, you don't need an air compressor, you don't need anything. Basically, you have your great white tank and your booster pump. You got your high pressure, your low pressure, and that's all you need. And literally, say you can top your gun off 15 times in the field with this without a booster. With this booster pump, you can basically go out with this and shoot it all day long. You can go all the way down to 1200 psi. Obviously, the lower the pressure in your gun, the more times you're going to have to pull it to fill your gun. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're in a hunting situation where you're getting low on air and you don't have the ability to go just fill a tank or have another tank, this will make it so you will never be without the air supply that you need. And this will change the way that you use your air rifles. This booster pump has actually paid for itself time and time over again, because when I would get below 4,500 pounds on my big tank, I would have to take that tank back to the welding supply, and they don't just charge you for what they put in it. They charge you for a full tank. So I used to go through 4 to 5 tanks a year, and with this booster pump, now I go through 1 a year, because the tank is at 3,000 pounds right now. I can still use it to get my gun to its full potential. Now, the next way this can be used is you have 2 male Foster fittings here, and you can hook your high pressure side back up like so. Okay, we will hook the high pressure side back up, and then now just say my guppy tank is at 3,000 pounds and I want to go out and I want to take my guppy tank with me. But at 3,000 pounds again, it's useless to me with my gun. So you take this male-to-male fitting, and then now the guppy tank is hooked in place of where the gun used to be. Now you simply open your valve, on your tank, you open your valve here, and now you simply pull this lever, and it will go from 3,000 to 4,500 in probably 10 cycles, which is not a big deal. And it always makes it so your gun is full, this is full, you go in the woods, you're ready to go. And simply, again, you turn this off, you bleed it off, unhook it, take your Foster 12 out. Now I got 5,000 pounds for my backpack if I so choose to do that. And I can go out hunting. Now my gun is full to 4,500 PSI, as I showed you. Now my guppy tank is full to 4,500 PSI. And that's basically the way this works. And now, like when I go on hunting trips, we go to Virginia and certain places. I used to take 3 or 4 big tanks, and I would take that tank, and I would just have a truckload of stuff. Now I can literally take this tank, my booster pump, and I can go for a week-long hunt, and I'm not worried about running out of air. Or if you want to go to the range, you don't have to fill your truck up with 4 or 5 tanks or take these big heavy tanks. It can all be done with these 3 things right here. You are self-sufficient and you don't have to worry about air ever. And that's one of my big things that I don't like when I go on a trip, is wondering if I'm going to run out of air because we're shooting or things like that. This product here will take it so you never worry about your air source. Thanks for your time and have a good day.